So this is the guidance event for anyone who is trying to get into the industry, and more specifically, we are having a very high demand of H4 EAD people who are trying to get into the IT jobs and trying to grab the opportunities which are out there. So the program is structured in such a way, and the overall team is structured in such a way so that we can provide maximum help to the people who are trying to get into the industry. So before we proceed, just to give the very brief introduction of myself, this is Sushmita Kumari. I'm associated with ELearningLine, which is the e-learning training provider as well as the placement agency. We work with many different clients. We are in primarily into the healthcare, but other industries also we are seeing a very high demand. We are receiving calls from them and getting the resource need. So we are working in a different areas where we are satisfying the need of the IT jobs. Now, moving on, just to capture what will be covered as part of the agenda, we are going to talk about the overall program overview. We will talk about what exactly will be covered and all the different areas. Then we'll also look at some of the job forecast so that we understand that whether the direction we are proceeding, whether that direction is right or wrong. And that is very much important for anyone who is trying to get into it to understand that. Then we'll also look at the tools and techniques which are required for anyone who is trying to get into the IT industry. So if you are looking to grab a job, grab an opportunity which is out there, you need to know what kind of a tools you need, what kind of a techniques you need, and we will talk about in detail in a while. Then we have steps to achieve your goal. We'll talk about what is your goal, where you are trying to go, what kind of a job you are trying to target. We will provide you all the different type of support to achieve your goal, and we will talk about how you can get there. Then we have the compensation rate. What kind of a compensation you should expect, what kind of a market value you will have once you have all the right tools and techniques in place. Your resume against the job. It's very important for anyone, any individual, to know how your profile looks against your competitors. So when you go out in the job, you know there are plenty of people, there are a number of resources who are applying for the same job. Now the question is, how do you stand out? What kind of a task, what kind of a assessment, what kind of a tool you need to have so that you stand out among them? And that is the key when you are applying for any position. You have to showcase, you have to have that X factor which is very clearly, very prominent, anyone can identify. And that is the reason, that's why we are here to help you and get that kind of a skill set so that you stand out in the market, your profile stand out in the market. How do we do that? How we are going to get there? It's a little time consuming process, but it's not impossible. And how we will do that, that's what we are going to talk about it, so that you get little more understanding of all the different areas. Now, talking about the career guidance with comprehensive guidance and counseling, this is the first step in the overall process. So we have the dedicated team to provide the career guidance because that is where the employments are. So if you do not have the right guidance, you will not be succeeded into the area where we are heading towards. Now, the career guidance is designed to prepare all of our students or the candidates for their future with support from the school, which is our learning counselors and educators, advisors. We have way qualified advisors who are certified, who are associated with different membership agencies like AHIMA, HIMSS, IIBA, Project Management Institute, and those are the resources collaboratively they are supporting the overall curriculum which will be taught to each individual student. And that's how you will get all the right tools which is required for the jobs and for the future plan what you are heading towards. So today if you are on stage 1, tomorrow you have to move to stage 2 at a higher level, and that is only possible when you have a right skill set in your hand. So that is for any job. That's how you proceed with it. Now let's talk about the employment projections. As we see here, it is very much important for you to understand that the employment projection is something you need to understand, because as we see here, this is the projection given by the Labor Bureau. You can see the complete report at bls.gov, and that they have the PDF copy of it. You can pull up the report and you can read it by yourself. So this is the statistical data what we are talking about. So statistical data says that the most high demanding employment projection is the healthcare. That means this is the area where you have 2.6% of the jobs. And that is the year 2012 to 2022. That means still we are not even halfway. So this is one of the area. I'm not going to talk about any other area because our focus is to put you right under this umbrella. So you should assume that once you undergo the complete process, this is where your job will be. This is where we are projecting. This is where we are targeting to get there. So your goal should be this. Now this is the overall employment projection. Now we need to go a little further and go a little deeper and dig into the occupation based. That okay, what is the occupation based? When we talk about the occupation base, this is the statistical data pulled out from the same report what we just, the Labor Bureau at bls.gov. This is the level 2 where it says that the projected rate of employment change by major occupational groups, which is going to be from 2012 to 2022, again we see that it is based on the occupation, and the area under the occupation is healthcare is number 1. Then again you have the healthcare practitioner and the technical occupants, which is number 2. Then you have the construction, personal care, and then you have the computer mathematical. So now the question is, what kind of a healthcare are we talking about? Healthcare is a very large umbrella. And before we just conclude anything without getting into the details of it, what kind of a healthcare jobs we are talking about, it will be very unlikely for anyone to understand with such a vast industry that okay, what kind of a job they are talking about, what kind of a job I'm going to be the office assistant in one of the physician office, and the answer is no. Am I going to be working for Quest Lab? The answer is no. Am I going to work in the hospital? The answer is no. Am I going to work as a customer service representative in any healthcare organization? The answer is no. Then what we are going to work as? We are going to work because we are giving you the computer skills. Some of you already have it. Some of you are going to get it. How? After getting through the training programs. Now, then what kind of a job we are talking about? We are talking about, see, the healthcare have a further branching, like you have a life science, which is the pharmaceutical companies. Then you have the financial, so healthcare finance is also there. Then you have healthcare IT, and then you have healthcare customer service. Among all these things, our only focus is healthcare IT. And when we say healthcare IT, under that also, we want to grab the industry, the subdomain where most of the jobs are, which is the insurance industry. So the most of the jobs, if you see, are with the insurance industry, where they look for someone with some healthcare background, some healthcare knowledge. And what is the healthcare knowledge? How, when we all have some kind of a insurance. When we get the services from the doctor, from the physician, how the overall process works from the time the patient taking the services from the insurance, from the physician, till the insurance making payment to the physician or to the individual, to the patient. How the behind the scene, what is happening? That's where we are targeting, and that is what the healthcare IT domain is at this point of time. For the jobs what we are looking for, we will do some handful of sampling of jobs. We will just go over some, we will randomly just search some healthcare jobs and see where is that line, that this is what, on one side you have the job description, on the other side you have the skills what you have learned through us. So we will do the comparison side by side so that you have a deep understanding of that the skill set what you are going to earn is the right skill set to apply for that position. Let's talk about, so now we just discussed on a very high level what kind of a healthcare IT jobs we are talking about. And the reason why we put the combination of the healthcare and the computer is your IT, that's how it is clubbed together, so that you have a, there is a high demand, but there is a less supply. That means there are less resources in the market and there is a high demand to satisfy. So as you see this is the occupational base, nothing is even close to it. So that is the reason this is the most demanding area where we are targeting for, and there is a high success rate. Now let's talk about the tools and the techniques needed. Now when we talk about the tools and the technique needed, that means you as an individual, what kind of a skill set you should have to get into the industry. We will talk about that, okay, what kind of a role we are targeting, that we will come at a later point of time. But right now we are just talking about as an individual, what kind of a skills you should have. Definitely you should have the bachelor's degree, because now the transition is in a full swing and the industry is leaning more and more towards the at least having a minimum bachelor's degree for any job position you are targeting for. So that is the key. Now if you have a master's, that's a plus point, but at least a bachelor degree would be a good starting point. Apart from that, any individual has to have, this is where you are standing and you are surrounded by all these different skill sets. These are the tools, these are the techniques you should have. And what are those? You should have a strong problem solving skill. That means when there is a problem, you should have the ability to solve it with the help of someone or without the help. That is the circumstances driven. So if the circumstances are that you have to deal with it by your own, you have to come up with a solution. If you have the option, you can get a support from someone, you should. Analytical skill. When you have a problem, you should assess the problem, you should analyze the problem. It's like a simple task. At home, if you have any problem, what do? You try to understand why that problem is there. What is the root cause of it? That is what analysis is, nothing else. We all are very good analysts. The reason being, when we have a problem, we try to understand where the root cause of it. Then the communication and the interpersonal skills. That's very much important, because if you're not able to communicate well, it will be very less likely for you to go out and explain something and elaborate on some topics. If you are not able to do that, it is very hard for anyone to understand you and provide some help whenever needed. Ability to focus with a close attention to detail. Now, why do you need this skill? Why do you have the ability? Why do you have to have the ability to focus on the things? If you are not a detailed oriented person, you will not pay attention to the small things. Then what will happen? Towards the end, you may think that you analyzed everything, each piece of the information is analyzed, but you will realize with wrong result. The only thing is you did not pay attention to the minor things, which was very important. That is the reason you have to have the ability. We are talking about the abilities. These are just the soft skills we are talking about. We have not reached the stage where we'll talk about some additional tools which you require some training or something like that, right? So far, these are all soft skills. Then we have the business knowledge. Now, how someone can get a business knowledge without doing that business? Very simple. You consult with the experts. That is why we are here, to give you that business knowledge, to train you for that particular business, how the industry is working, how their day-to-day work is, what do they do in 8 hours a day and 40 hours a week, how their day is structured, what kind of a task they perform on day-to-day basis, what are the deliverables, how do they facilitate the sessions, how do they conduct the meetings, how do they plan their work. All these things we are going to train, and that is where your business knowledge comes into the picture. That means if you are having a conversation with someone, you understand their business so that you are able to have the equivalent conversation with them and talk in such a way that you are expert from the same industry who comes with the great knowledge. And that is the tools and the techniques what you need. We'll talk about more, I would say, the actual skill set which will be as good as what the job description have against your resume. Will get there, but these are the combination of the soft skills and the business knowledge which you have to grab an opportunity. So if you are trying to pursue your career into the IT industry, you have to have that. Now we talked about the healthcare, and we also talked about the computer skill set. Now, the question, if I am at your place, the question which will come to my mind is, why only healthcare? Why not finance? Why didn't I talk about finance? The reason I did not talk about the finance, because most of the jobs are in healthcare, because that is the highest occupational area. According to we are not talking just simple talk. We are talking statistical data. We are talking numbers which are reported by the Labor Bureau. According to them, healthcare is the highest demanding area. And the simple logic, if you go back and see, for the last 5 years, what are the different things which has happened into the healthcare industry? You don't need to go very far. Just go and look back what happened Obamacare. We all know about Obamacare. Randomly, the industry was upside down just because of all the changes which gradually happening into the industry. So this is something which is happening over the time, and it will be ongoing basis. It's not going to stop at one place because of the way the healthcare is structured and the kind of money the federal government is putting into this industry. 18% of the GDP, if you go and research, find that gets invested into the healthcare industry. The number one investment is in the US border security, and the number two investment is in the healthcare industry. And that keeps our jobs alive. That's why we have this healthcare industry, which is always on the greener side. Even though the market was bad back in 2009, this industry was not much impacted, and people at their job was continue to be there. That is the reason, since you are starting your career, start it with the good pace. So talking about these are and that is the reason we do not talk about the finance, retail, telecom, any other industry, because we don't want to target for something where we know at some point of time we'll see the slowdown, we'll see the ups and downs. We don't want to do that. We want to be in the industry which is kind of a steady in a long run. Now, the question is steps to achieve the goal. What is your goal? Your goal is to get a job. That is what your goal is. Now, since if you have a goal where you are trying to get into the IT industry, this is how your roadmap will look like. So this is the starting point. This is where you are standing right now. How it will work with us? We will have one-on-one counseling with the experts, and based on that we will help you understand. We will understand your weakness, we will understand your strength, and based on that we will provide the recommendation for you in terms of what is that course which works best for you. And we will hear your story. We will give you plenty of time to understand. If you have the same question, you keep coming back to us. We will clarify, our experts will clarify that doubt to you at the ground level. There is no hesitation. So we will recommend what course is best for you, and based on that you can make up your mind whether you want to proceed or not. Just do not take the words, no matter where you are. Look at the statistical data, look at the facts, and based on that you should make up your mind. Then we will do the training enrollment process, where we will formally put you in a scheduled batch where you will be connecting with the instructor on a regular basis and you will be trained. Once the training is completed, then that means you have gained, you have learned all the necessary skills what is required to move ahead from there. Once you have that training completion, our career guidance team will come into the picture again, and they will advise you how to be efficient on a resume writing. We have certified resume writers who help people to do the resume building, and we put a resume through those writers so that they understand what is required, what are the skill set you have, how they can project and highlight that in the market so that you have the high probability of getting a call from the client. So as you see here, this is a very good graphical representation to showcase what happens in the real time. So there is a job. After your resume is done, we proceed with the job submission. Now this is a race. There are plenty of people who are running in this race. Now the question is, how do you stay ahead of all of these? There is only one way. When you have an interview specific counseling. I know there are many companies who are providing the mock-up interviews and proxy interview. There are many companies that are doing that. But how we stand out among them? We do the job specific counseling. So let's say the client have shortlisted your profile. Now you will hear from our experts. They will talk to you one-on-one basis. They will groom you with a particular job in such a way so that you have a high probability to get that job. And that will be the finish line. And that's how you will achieve your goal. That's how you will be hired. Once you are hired, then we have an on-job support team. You'll get an on-job support. You are stuck with something. You don't know. You are directionless. You don't know how to proceed with it. Our team will support you behind the scene to how to approach for that problem, how to resolve that problem, how to go to the next level where you are at this point of time, so that there is no showstopper for you once you are hired. So this should be your final destination, and you should be moving ahead. It should not be just a stage where you are just at a complete stop at a dead end. No, this has to be progressive, and that is the reason we provide the on-job support. So this is the phase which is very important for any individual to get a support, get a specific counseling based on the job. So if you have 5 different interviews lined up, you will get the counseling for all those 5 different interviews, making sure that the probability is highest when you appear for an interview. How to talk, what kind of a terms to use, if it is telephonic, it becomes very harder for the interviewer to understand what you are trying to explain because there is no face-to-face interaction. So convincing power has to be very strong. Your business case has to be very strong. When you are giving an answer, it has to be very precise because there is very limited time. The silence which you will maintain between the interviewer and the interviewee, that has to be bare minimal because there is no face interaction. So how we can increase the probability of getting you hired for that job. That is what this interview specific counseling team is. That is what they are going to help you on. When you are getting the answers, how you should provide the answer. If you have to give an example, how you should relate your examples with the kind of a job you are applying. All these things we are going to support. So this is about the steps how you will achieve your goal, which is the job, and you get hired. Now let's talk about, this is the most interesting thing, at least for me, because this is what I love the most, where you know after all this effort what you are going to get out of it, what you will be paid. So I just randomly took the data. As you see, this is the data which was updated on June 20th. That is the most current data what we have available. The source I have taken is from the PayScale Inc. You can just visit at payscale.com and you can find out the more appropriate information. Towards the end of the session, we will go to those sites and we will try to find out more information on it so that we see on a face-to-face basis when we are having this interaction. As we see, this is just an average what I have taken. And because I have not added any specific city or the location, I have not added the experience, I have not added specific skill set, I have not added the employer. So this is just the numbers which I took for just for the business analyst, because that is the most easiest field for anyone to get into, and that is the reason there was a very high focus on the soft skill in the previous slides when we talked about. Because if you have, let's say you have no computer science background, you have no IT background, can we say that no, you are not qualified for this position? And the answer is no. Still there is a room for you to get into the IT industry being a business analyst, because if you follow the industry is demanding for more and more domain specific business analysts rather than just people who are coming with the core development background. And that is the reason there is a very high demand of the business analyst. Now, so this is the overall salary. As you see, we'll get to the actual site to find out more information on it. Then look at it. Then we have the quality assurance versus the business analyst. I just try to put side by side. I just have the side by side notation so that we see. It helps you understand what kind of a compensation you can expect being part of which side of the boat. So you have one side which is the business analyst and one side you have the quality assurance analyst. Now let's first understand what they do on a day-to-day basis from the both the sides, because some of you already know that, some of you may not have any clue about what these two positions are. So let's understand on a very high level. Business analyst, what happens? Just think about the login page. When you try to log in into the Yahoo email, what happens? You have the username, you have the password, and then there is a text box next to it, and then you have the OK button, or it says sign in, or it just say cancel. Just assume that being a client for which you are going to work is trying to create abc.com. Now that ABC is going to have the mail functionality, and they are asking you to create a requirement for the login page. If they are trying to create a requirement, that means you need to understand what are the things they want. Who will capture that? Your business analyst will capture the list of items, what they want in that particular page, which is the sign-in page. They will say they want the username. The username can be alphanumeric, that is the requirement. They want the password. Their requirement is the password has to be alphanumeric. If someone just trying to enter the alphabets, it should not accept. If someone is just trying numbers, it should not accept. So these are all the set of wants, and those wants are called your requirements. And that is what the business analyst does. Capture the information, capture the wants from the end users, from the client, and then pass it on to the development team so that the development team can design it and create it, make it functional from the piece of paper to the actual software. That is the development team. Then you have the quality assurance. Now the business analysts have done its part. They did all the requirements, they captured all the requirements and gave it to the development team. Now the development team have developed that. Then how do we test that whether this is something working as per the client expectation or not? That's where your quality assurance team comes into the picture. The quality analyst. They are the ones. They will just take the dummy data and try to enter it. So they will take what is being already developed and they will try to enter the data as per the client need, as per the wants, as per the requirements. So the requirement said it should have the username, and the username they will try to enter some data. If it is accepted, they will say, okay, this is pass. If that the password should take alphanumeric, they just try to enter alpha characters. If it accepted, that is a fail because they will say this product is not up to the mark what is expected by the client because the client says it should take alphanumeric, whereas the sign-in form is taking just alpha. Similarly, they will just try the numbers. If it is accepted, it is a fail case. So that is the difference. One is just capturing the requirement, which is a business analyst, setting up the meetings, creating the joint sessions where they are doing the brainstorming so that they can come to the conclusion what kind of a decision needs to be made, and the quality assurance, making sure the product which is being developed, the project which is being developed, it qualifies for all the quality parameters. That is what the difference between these two positions. So now how do you understand which position is good for you? If you think you are a more people facing person, you have a very good communication skills, you like to talk a lot, you like to have the conversation with the end users, if you like to interact with people, then you should target for the business analyst. If you think that you try to be, you are not a very vocal person, you just want to sit at your desk and do your day-to-day activities, provide the status, and that's how you want. So moreover, you want to work behind the scene, you don't want too much of customer facing, then you apply for the quality assurance analyst position. That is what the difference between these two positions. One is more customer focused and one is more desk focused. I will term it in that way, so because you are more on at your desk and doing at your day-to-day job rather than just running on the meetings and working as working very closely with the clients. This is what the difference between these two roles. You will be interacting with the clients, but bare minimal, whereas the business analyst will have a day-to-day interaction because that's where the source is for all the requirements. So this is, as we see, the salary structure and everything what we have given over here is 76,000 is in the United States. So you can understand this is on an average we are talking about, okay? But when you add some more qualifying criteria, like you add the city, definitely you are going to see some variations because you have the A class cities and then you have a C class cities. Now they have added a new category as a A plus. There are some cities which are considered as A plus, and New York is one of that A plus city. California also, they have some of the cities which are considered as A plus. So definitely the cost of living is high on those areas. So you will see the higher perk, higher compensation. Whereas if it is the low class city, low meaning doesn't mean that low meaning that classification of the city we are talking about, where that it's a C class city, that means the cost of the living is lower as compared to the A or A plus cities. That's why the compensation is lower. So that is what the difference. So the quality assurance of the business analyst, it's very close, but definitely it all comes down to your soft skill. You are a very good planner, you have a very good communication skills, you like to interact with people, then definitely business analyst is the area where you should target. That's how you should prepare yourself, and that's how you should proceed. Then we have, this is something which I added just to showcase, so that when we are looking through the jobs, we understand what kind of a comparison we need to do so this is the skill set, this is the skills, these are the skills what you are going to get after your training is completed. We are going to take these skill sets and we are going to compare against the jobs, what kind of a job they are looking for, what is the job demand, whether you qualify for the job or not. You can only make a difference when you see that skill listed over here, and when you go and look at the jobs, you see the similarity between these two. Then only you can say that yes, the skill we are trying to learn matches with the jobs which are out there. So definitely there is the higher success which you can assume. Why do I have this IIBA logo here? The reason being is this particular program is the certified program from International Institute of Business Analysis body. And they are the ones who oversees how you have for PMP, you have PMI Project Management Institute. Similarly, for the business analyst, you have IIBA. So this course is the certified course. So towards the end of the course, you will be considered certified business analyst because you will receive this certificate, which is the completion certificate of this particular course, which have a very good value in the market globally. Now, what are the things we are going to learn as we see here? So first we will just introduce you from the IABA body of knowledge so that you understand that, okay, what exactly the body does and what is their need. So as we see here, we will give you the introduction of the business analyst body of knowledge. We will talk about why all these skills are needed for you. I will not get into lot of details over here. I just have it so that we can showcase how it is matching, how the details are common between what skills you will gain as compared to the job. So we have the business composition and architecture, what are the roles and responsibility, how your day will look like, who will be considered as your project team, then what is the elicitation, how that is performed, why do we do that, and what are the methods we use. Then we'll also talk about the analytical techniques, that being an analyst, what are the techniques you should use depending upon what kind of a project you have. Then we have the software development life cycle. We will talk about that because that is a very important thing for anyone to do that. Now always remember, every session is followed by the assignment so that we can assess, we can understand how much understanding you got after that session, after the topic is completed. And that is very important for us to make sure towards the end, when you are completing the session, we are able to assess that where do you stand in terms of the job market, how confident you are, how much you know, what is the setback we may face when we put you out in the market. So that is the reason we have the assessment done after all the sessions. So once you've completed elicitation, we'll have some assignment for elicitation. Analytical techniques. Now analytical techniques, as I said earlier, this is that how do you assess the situation, because all the projects are going to be different in nature. Depending upon what kind of a project you are working on, you need to see what is the best analytical technique you have to utilize. Then the software development life cycle and the method. We will talk about the most popular development life cycle methods, how that works, and then followed by the assignments. And we'll also talk about the pros and cons of it so that you understand that which situation, what methodology works best. Project management. Very important for business analyst or the quality assurance analyst, either one. It's very important for you to understand what project management is. What are the different phases it has to go through. Because if you do not know that, and if you are joining the project in the middle of the project, it will be very hard for you to understand what phase you are and what kind of a task is expected by you. So that is the reason overall understanding for the project management is very important for you. So we will walk you through the entire process. Testing facts. This is very important chapter for the QA as well as for the business analyst, because these are the things which as a quality assurance you should know. For a BA point of view, the BA should know who the quality assurance resources are and what are their roles and responsibilities, so that there is no overlap. At the same time, how much support is needed for the testing phase. That is very much important. So again, we'll talk about all the different type of deliverables, which like a test cases, test plan, what are the permutation combination, what are the positive, negative test cases, what kind of a project you are doing, whether it is a functional or which is the GUI specific, which is the graphical user interface. So depending upon all these things, we will write the test cases and the number of test cases. That's how we'll create the metrics. What are the common factors you need to consider when you are creating the metrics in terms of the number of test cases required? We'll also talk about the business process model, because this is very important for the software re-engineering. It's not necessarily always you are working on a project which is going to become altogether new project or a process. You may be involved into the work which is kind of a re-engineering. So you have something already in place and you are trying to improve the way it works today, so that it is more technologically advanced in terms and can compete against today's high demanding technological need. So that's the reason it's very important for you to understand the business process model. Then we have unified modeling language. These are some of the tools, some of the softwares which you will learn as part of this program, so that you know you can deliver your work better. So this is divided into two different sessions, so that first you understand the ABC of UML of that tool, and then you go and get the hands-on into the software. And towards the end, we will walk you through with the creative requirement writing, how to capture the client's need, client wants into an effective way, so that the final deliverable what you provide is perfect and have all the different details which is required to consider that as a very effective business requirement document. Now we already talked about the certification program, so this is definitely a certification program which you are going to achieve, which adds up value to your profile definitely, because now industry is moving more and more towards this. So this is what your business analyst skills, what you are going to gain out of that. After that, we will take you through with the health insurance HIT, which is your health insurance technology, health information technology essentials. So this is a very large curriculum. You can find it in the industry that there is no such curriculum exists in the market when it comes down to training. So this is the most competitive one, and the only reason is because we have worked aggressively with many colleges and some healthcare institutions, I would say, like HIMSS, AHIMA, AHIP, where we have the advisors who are affiliated with those organizations and who have helped us to come up with this curriculum to make sure that maximum jobs can be captured as part of this particular training program. So we'll start up with the fundamentals of healthcare, then we will give you some brief overview of the legal and the regulatory affairs. Then we'll also talk about the healthcare solutions, which is more kind of all the different type of IT softwares which are out there, and the concepts like EMR, EHR, medical claim processing on the insurance side. We'll also walk you through with the office and the patient management, so that you understand what is the incoming data, what is the source of it, and what is the outgoing data, where it goes out. We will also talk about the electronic data interchange. It's too early for you to understand this, but it's more about, I will give you on a high level how the electronic data is handled in the healthcare industry, because that is one of the area where you have lot of jobs. Then we have how the data gets submitted, what are the different type of forms involved, which is CMS 1500 and the uniform billing, how that is done. We'll look through those forms so to understand it better. Then we will go into a way detail of claims management, because that is a very detailed area. We will talk about how the institutional professional claims are handled and how the facet is one of the very most popular claim system. We'll look through some of the data models to understand what kind of a data gets stored into the software so that you understand it into the more detail into facets. So these are some of the topics which are very advanced topic, but you get there gradually and you are given plenty of time to ask questions. If you want us to revise that topic, we will have the revision of those topics so that the end product, which is the consultant, which is the student, is the end product of this training. We make sure that you get enough time to prepare yourself. We make sure we give you plenty of information which is required for you to go out in the job, and that is the reason we have such a vast curriculum in terms of healthcare. Then we talk about the healthcare insurance, how the insurance industry work, what are the different parties involved in it, like a managed care, consumer directed health plans. I'm not sure if you have heard or if any of you already utilizing the FHA, HRA, these type of programs. Then we have that how the managed care organizations are aggregated, what are their rules and regulations, how they are monitored, how they get audited. Because of that managed care organizations, what kind of a effect we see on the physician's practice, how the physician world is interacting with and behaving under the managed care umbrella. So we talk about all these things so that you understand and this is what your business knowledge is. This is what your business knowledge is. So if you recall, when we were talking about the soft skills, there was a section where we talked about the business knowledge. This is to give you the business knowledge so that you can fall under that 2.6% of the occupation which is there on the healthcare. So this is, then further it continues to Medicare. We explain you about everything about Medicare, how the Medicare works, so that when you get a project, when there is an interview related to Medicare, you qualify for it. Then the Blue Cross Blue Shield, that is the altogether different entity. They work little differently as compared to a regular insurance companies. We walk you through the entire process, how the Blue Cross Blue Shield plans work, how they work with, how they are different from Aetna or Cigna. Then we have the Medicaid and the Tricare. We also target the Tricare also, which are the military based. The Medicaid is low income. How those plans are designed, how those benefits are driven, what kind of a projects you may get. So again, all these will be followed by the assignments. Workers' compensation. If someone is injured during the work, how that works, that's what workers' compensation is. Where the state and the federal law comes into the picture, what are the process and the procedure needs to be in place. Again, if someone know all these things, there is no way they are going to struggle to get into the industry, because you have the right skill at right time. And right now there is a very high demand in the healthcare industry for the business analyst and the quality assurance. Then we will also talk about the coding overview. There are different type of codes. You don't need to know all the codes, but you do need to know the type of codes. If you go and just look for the ICD codes, you will see that what are the ICD codes. It's too early in the game to tell you what the ICD code is, what is the history of it, what is anatomy, what is PCS and CM. But when you join the program, gradually we will take you, and that is the reason we have such a vast curriculum to explain that, okay, it starts from the overview and then it gradually moves into the details of the ICD, where right now we are working very aggressively on this ICD implementation. So these are all the ICD related stuff. And then we will also talk about how the payment submission and the charges work. And then towards the end, we will have again the similar kind of a session where you will have the resume and the interview, cover letter, interview question, and the one-on-one counseling to see where do you stand. Do you have to go back and revise that topic, or are you good to go out in the market and start taking an interview? That is the assessment we do over here. You will also have some case studies. The case study is listed towards the end and the terminology, but that will be going hand in hand with each chapter, so that we are not missing out anything and you are conceptually clear before we move on to the next topic. Then we also do some projects, and the projects are real time projects which are happening at this point of time, so that you are not missing out anything. Even though you are doing a training, but still you are working. You will be creating the documents. You will be doing the deliverables. You will exactly do all the list of deliverables what you will do as a business analyst or quality assurance if someone is working in the industry at this point of time and doing that project. You will be asked, you will be supported, you will be helped to come up with the same set of documents, and undergo the same phases. Your day will exactly look like the same how someone is doing it at their job. The only difference is here you will have someone to correct it, someone will point out what needs to be corrected, how that needs to be structured. Whereas when you go at an actual job, you will not have those basics explained to you by someone. So that is the difference, that you have a counseling team here who is monitoring you 24/7 what you are doing, how you are working, what is your progress rate. Whereas when you go out on the job, all these supports will not be there, because that is your final match. That is where you have to showcase, that is where you have to shine. And at that stage, we can maximum do is provide you the on-job support. So this is the HIT essential. Now, we are going to take the questions, but before we start taking the questions, I want to showcase few things so that you understand and try to relate all these things what we have captured so far with the actual market to see where exactly you stand in terms of the jobs. And that we can do it only when we go to the job. Now, let's just go to Google, and I'm just going to type a random job search so that we understand it. Now, just first let's look at the salary. So let's do salary for business analyst. Now see here. There are a lot of links what we have received. Let's look at it. It's very good to look at the statistical facts before you completely make up your mind that okay, this is what I want to do it. So always the recommended way to proceed. So just look at it. The good part is you can see some of the companies how they are paying it over here. Some of the companies are listed over here. So the hourly rate is, there are some companies which are at the $31 rate also, but overall rate, if you see, this is what the yearly income comes down to. And this is the business analyst salary, which is the national average is 65,000. It approximately comes down to 66. New York City, 66. Now, if you want to just change some of the factors, you can just customize it based on the location, what you are targeting, where you are situated. Based on that, you can just customize it and you can see. Similarly, this is the another area where this is the same site where you can see. You can just add the city, experience, skill set, and that can give you the right piece of information. Then this is the another source where you can find that information. That see here, business analyst. So till April 14 you see, but still the trend is going well. Now see all this data. Now we will talk about something in terms of the healthcare. Now, when we talk about healthcare, now again we will see some of the jobs. So in the healthcare, this is what the average we are seeing. See here. You see how the market have gone? When we just had just a regular business analyst as compared to the healthcare business analyst, it has gone up. And the only reason is because of, I see that it's in 90s. The only reason why this have such a high demand, because we have so many projects which are happening just because of some state legislation, because of the federal regulation. We are seeing lot of changes in the healthcare industry, healthcare IT industry. I won't say just the healthcare industry, healthcare IT industry. On the insurance side, such a high impact we have that we end up getting high and high resource volume. Now see here, again this is the salary range. So this is very important for you to look at the data, statistical data, and then make up your mind. Now let's look at the quality assurance also. No, I'm more kind of a graphical person, so I prefer seeing graphical data. See here, this is healthcare data quality analyst. This is the, see here. So again, when you are looking at a regular healthcare analyst against your regular quality assurance analyst against your healthcare quality analyst, or you are looking in the business analyst field also, regular business analyst against your healthcare business analyst, you will see the type of compensation, there is a variance. And the only reason is because when the industry is putting more money into the market, that means more jobs, higher pay scales, and that is what it is. Now we talked about elicitation and all those things. Now let's talk about some of the jobs. Now let's look at I will just look at random jobs. Okay, so that we'll just hand pick some of the jobs so that we understand it. Now, when we are talking about just a regular business analyst, let's pick anyone. Now, what they are looking for? What are the skill set they are looking for? They are looking for wireframing is something very particular. Now, this does not give you the very good job description. I want a very good detailed job description so that we understand it. While it's coming up, let's look for healthcare business analyst jobs as well. Now, just look at it. Business analyst with healthcare. Okay, this PBM is nothing but this is the benefit management, which is pharmacy benefit management. That is for the, since it is CVS, they are looking for very specific for that, but if you are on the healthcare side of it and you understand facets benefit management, that is going to be helpful. Then you have the experience working with IT team, translate use case into the requirement. If you go back and look at our curriculum, we have the use cases, how to write it, and followed by the assignment. So definitely you learn that. Data management and the reporting tools, how the workflow is, how the project team works. In that, we will also talk about that how the reporting will work. In terms of reporting tool, could be anything. In Excel, you are doing the reporting. There are some softwares which are out there. You can use that for the reporting. So it depends. Then creative problem solver, flexible, proactive, have demonstrations experience, effective working within a fast-paced, ever-changing environment. These are soft skills. Experience in effectively managing multiple project activities in a timely, organized manner. These are all the soft skills. That's what you need. So this is what a BA job is all about. Then, talking about the healthcare business analyst. Now let's look at healthcare business analyst, what they are looking for, how that coincides with the training which will be given to you, what kind of a job you can target. Now this is just this one. Now let's look at the, see here, facets business system analyst. Now see, health business analyst 4 year, clinical data mapping 2 years. If you want to target the life science companies, pharmaceutical companies, definitely you can go for that type of position. But if you, that is not your targeted area, you can just ignore that and you can just stick to the payer industry where you will find most of the jobs. See here, Ameri Health, very large company. What they are looking for? First, it starts with the soft skill. So you have the progress attitude towards skill improvement, independent thinking, and advanced technology. Position is required to work a minimum of 5, that is the team size. There are both oral and written forms of communication, demonstrate understanding of follows corporate compliance. Then you have a usage data, must be an excellent service provider with a true commitment to provide the highest quality configuration solution on a customer focused team. So they are talking about that if given point of time you need to do some configuration, you should be able to do that. See here, minimum of 3 years utilizing Microsoft Access for analysis, reporting, and updating facet data or equivalent relational data application experience. Must have ability to build complex query, report, and macros. So when you are applying for the facets, they require some query writing skills. If you are not applying for system specific, you just want to stick to the regular healthcare BA, you can stick to those cases as well. Now, so this is more on the business analyst side. Now, let's look at the quality assurance side. Let's look at some of the quality assurance jobs too, so that if you have a quality assurance kind of a mindset, we are able to satisfy that as well, and you are able to understand what kind of a job. I'm just looking for the, okay, this is the healthcare company, so let's look at it. What they are looking for. Now, bachelor degree, they are looking for 3 to 5 years of knowledge, health service, then implementing quality assurance, quality improvement activities. All these things are considered as part of the quality assurance training. Then you have literature evaluation attained through formal education or training from the above said degree. Okay. Extensive knowledge of Microsoft Suite. Excel, PowerPoint, because you will be doing some data analysis and you will be looking at creating reports. So considering all those things, you need to have the understanding, okay, this is what the tools you are going to use, and you should not be struggling how to use Excel, how to use your PowerPoint. You should not have those type of struggle. So that is the reason it's very important for you to do that. Now, this is another job, support other QA team. I'm just randomly picking it so that you understand it. Participate to design the specific review, coordinate directly or developer and product team to see bug fixes, which is your errors. That is what the bug is. That is what the defect is. Through the completion, the ensure proper QA policy and the testing coverage is applied. That means the right test cases are created and you are able to perform that. So being said that, no matter you are applying for a BA or a QA, you just need the right skill set, nothing else. Once you have that, you are good to go in the market, and we will be very closely monitoring you. We'll have a very scheduled timeline to make sure that, okay, your training is completed, you are able to go through your preparation phase. After you pass that, we are going to facilitate the interview setup. Once you pass that, then you will go to the career counseling team to make sure where do you stand, are you ready. If yes, let's start, and then we will start sending it to our clients. And from there, once we hear back, again our counseling team will connect with you to make sure that you are prepared for that particular interview, not just interview, that particular interview. And that's how we will train you. Now, if you have any questions, you can just type off the question on the chat window and we will take your questions and I will answer those questions. I'll give few minutes just to go over the question answers so that we can clarify all your doubts. Most of the time I get the questions like how long this is going to take. The entire process takes somewhere around 2 to 3 weeks of aggressive training, and in 2 to 3 weeks the final product is ready, which is the one consultant is ready to go out in the market and explore the job. And that is how it works. Any question? Okay, so the question is, what is the fee associated with the training? We require some initial deposit, which is a very low amount, and after the training is done and you are on job, that amount is refunded back to you so that there is no cost associated with it. Now, our counseling team will help you understand the entire process of the recruitment. You just need to watch out for the schedule, when it is starting, or you can directly just call us at 848-200-0448 and we will contact you and walk you through from there till the final destination. And that's how the entire process is going to be. I'm just going to take few questions now just to make sure that we have all our question answered. Okay, yes, Niranjana, you can go on. I see you raise your hand.
Okay, hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So this course is for 2 to 3 weeks, you told, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the minimum cost for this?
See, they require somewhere around $200 or $300 of deposit, and
Okay.
that deposit would be refunded back to you once you get a job.
Okay, so after getting job, is there something like you will take 30% or 40% from the salary? So is that something like that?
Yes, so there are two mode of payment. One where you come on our payroll and you will get the benefit, and you are on the fixed salary, whereas the another side is where you work on the percentage, where whatever rate we get, let's say we are getting the $60 rate, so whatever rate we are getting, that will be very transparent to you, which you will know. And what we will do is you will keep the 80% of it and we will take the 20% of it. That is the
Okay,
rate share.
okay,
Yep.
okay. And if I take the training for in this month, if I need my in job assistance, maybe after 2 months, is that possible?
Yes, that is possible. We have many consultants who are taking the training at this point of time, and they may have some travel plans, or because of that, as for EAD, their file is still in process, so they may are going to get it by in September. So they want to start their job marketing from September. We do have those cases as well, and we have around 42 registrations, those type of registrations.
Okay,
I may be wrong in a few numbers here and there, but we have a very high registration numbers where people just want to finish the training and then do their own preparation and then come back to us back in September timeframe.
yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Or
Okay.
if I have any queries, can you repeat the number what you said before? If
Yeah, you
so,
can see on that slide 84820004448, or you can just visit at www.elearningline.com to find out more information. You can drop an email to support@elearningline.com.
okay, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions? Okay, so if no more questions, then we call it for the day. And thank you so much, everyone, for attending the session. Have a good day. Best of luck.